the child is always happy to see dad, so that was good to hear. And just evaluating my time with the child over these last 10 to 11 months, he's been to my office a few times. I've seen him at his placement a few times, and then this visit at Fostering Solutions, and he's just doing so much better with his behavior. In the beginning, he was not easy to have in public and in a room like my office or the room he was in at Fostering Solutions. And I know placement dreaded bring him into like a grocery store or something like that. But now from observing him at this visit and then speaking with the placement, they were able to go out in public to like a tree lighting event. He was able to sit on Santa's lap. So I just believe that he's been doing a lot better and working through his behaviors. And I think it's been a lot of just his routine and daycare, as well as some stability and just, being able to rely on some certain things and know what to expect has really helped him. So I definitely believe it's in his best interest to remain in his current placement. I think the issues remain from the court report and speaking with Ms. Latour, the housing, some potential financial stability, transportation, and then Mr. Everett's, he has a partner who has a CPS history, and we're still navigating how to best, engage the child with her in that situation. I think over these next few months, those things will still need to be addressed. But at the same time, in some of the other areas of the case service plan, including the interactions with the child, Mr. Evers is doing really well. And like I said, the next few months or this reporting period, we can really start to potentially brainstorm what a transition may look like into this home, if all goes well with the housing, the stability, and some of those other issues that I spoke on. The child did not address his wishes to lose age. Thank you.
Your testimony today, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Honor. I'd ask Ms. Latour to be sworn in to provide her report.
Ms. Latour, come up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Latour, you've provided a court report for today's hearing, inclusive with the case service plan, a therapy update for Mr. Everts, and then a care pregnancy center update indicating which classes he's completed. To the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to any of those documents?
I have not received any updates from his therapist from the last report that I had gotten, despite following up with her. So that report is the last accurate report that I have gotten from her. And those seem to be what is stated in there, seems to be what has been happening and is reported by Mr. Everts as well.
Wonderful. And as relates to the permanency goal right now, can you tell us if you're recommending any change to the goal of reunification?
I do believe that reunification is still in the best interest of Chase, or the minor, my bad, due to Mr. Everts having secured some housing. He's not moved in yet, to my knowledge, but he has stated that he has secured housing and that they are planning on moving in during this month.
Wonderful. And during the last hearing, the court had ordered a family team meeting to, for us to have a family team meeting to explore the possibility of guardianship and whether that would be appropriate. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, we had a family team meeting regarding it it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. And we discussed what guardianship is with Mr. Everts and the caregiver. But it did not go into great detail due to having received the updates from Mr. Everts in finding housing. But we discussed what guardianship could possibly look like, what guardianship is in the eyes of the court, and then what it could possibly look like going forward as a permanency goal.
Okay. And parenting time for Mr. Everts, how is that going? It looks like in the report that maybe expanded during this review period. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So parenting time overall has been going well. There was some miscommunication back in October between the caregiver and Mr. Everts, and then the caregiver brought me into it. So there was some miscommunication with that. So the agency had been fully supervising for a couple of weeks, but we went back to caregiver supervising with what works best for Mr. Everett's schedule and her schedule.
Listen, the foster worker starts laying out the reality here. The child is finally stable, behaving better, and adjusting to structure.
And the agency supervising 1 day a week for those 2 hours. We are looking at expanding more during this reporting period, and hopefully once I'm able to assess the housing that Mr. Everett had secured, I am hopeful that we can start moving some visits into his home. I am also looking at getting some visits with his long-term partner so that we can start assessing how the interaction is between her and the minor child.
Wonderful. Your report indicates that Dad hadn't provided you a copy or proof of income or his lease quite yet. Has he been able to do so since this report was filed?
I have not received anything yet.
Okay. And from your opinion, do you believe that Mr. Everts has benefited from the parenting classes at the Care Pregnancy Center?
I do.
Wonderful. And as relates to the recommendations and the psychological evaluation, do you feel that he's complying with those and making progress on those as well?
I do believe that he is making some progress on those. The termination history from his other children will obviously still be a continuing area that he addresses during therapy, but I believe that due to him being able to go down from once weekly to once every 2 weeks is benefiting him greatly.
Wonderful. And do you see any concerns and behaviors during parenting time that you think more parenting skills are needed at this time?
I have not observed any concerning behaviors, and I've not gotten any reports of any concerning behaviors.
And is there anything you want to update the court about as it relates to the child or how he's doing?
The minor child is doing very well. I had a home visit a couple weeks ago, and he was just a bright, happy child. His speech is going better. He's talking more, and he just loves being able to go to daycare, and every time he gets to see the early on worker, I've gotten reports that he just is lighting up and is doing incredibly well with her. So all in all, he is thriving currently.
Wonderful. And is there any expressed concern about like transitioning back from parenting time with Dad, or is he able to transition well for that as too?
He's definitely, when the minor child is leaving parenting time, there's definitely some crying just because of that transition, and he definitely struggles with a little bit of that transition. But as soon as Dad picks him up and is consoling him and taking him outside to the caregiver, he calms right down.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your testimony. I have no further questions. And Your Honor, I would ask at this time the court receive the court report and its attachments to be admitted into the file. Thank you.
No objections. No objections.
Okay, thank you. They were received. Questions, Mr. McFarland?
I do. My client indicates on the 17th this week, he's going to be signing the lease agreement. You will want a copy of that. Is that true?
Yes.
Then should he be contacting you once they're moved in so you can inspect it for suitability for visitation at the apartment?
Once I know that he moves in, I will contact him to get that scheduled with him.
Oh, you want him to let you know that he's moved in? That's what
I mean,
he-
yes.
Okay. I know last time we were in court, according to my notes, we knew about his partner's past history and we were going to explore that. What has been done in this last 90-day period? What was that exploration?
Yes, we had received the redacted CPS reports and we held a family team meeting to discuss them with his long-term partner and Mr. Everts. She was able to sign a couple releases on the services that she is currently participating in. And I received documentation from CMH that I've glanced through. It does seem like she's addressing her mental health. That was a concern previously. And then she's also completed parenting education courses through Care Pregnancy Center as well. And has received completion certificates from it.
And we're doing this because reunification would consist of the child moving in with my client and his partner, correct?
Correct.
I know last time, according to my notes, we were also giving you discretion for unsupervised.
Now the defense attorney starts pressing hard. He pushes the worker on unsupervised visits, timelines, and what exactly is stopping this father from taking his child.
What's the barrier with Mr. Everts having his child at the library to read a book by himself, unsupervised parenting time? What's the barrier there?
I think that we just had not explored it enough. There was a time when we were thinking about expanding to some semi-supervised in the office, but then there was some conflicting information between him and the caregiver. So that got halted for a moment, but I am looking at expanding into that some.
So what's that time frame going to look like, if you can explain it to us?
I just want to be able to touch base with Mr. Everts and the caregiver to kind of set some expectations and talk about communication and where we can have some of those places be for parenting time.
Okay. So in your mind, what would that timeline look like for him possibly having unsupervised, is what I'm getting at?
Probably within the next week or so.
And my client has applied for disability for arthritis. You're aware of that, correct?
Yes.
So you're just waiting for the results from the disability petition, correct?
Yes.
I also know that Mr. Everts, he sells things on the side. He doesn't have a bank account. You're not faulting him for not having a bank account, correct?
Correct. I'm not.
If you were to keep a ledger as far as sales and what he made to provide that for you, would that satisfy your requirement for income?
I believe so. I would have to double check with my supervisor as I'm not 100% certain.
Okay. Now, these are cash sales, you understand that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Any other areas that where should my client be focusing on right now outside of housing, since it looks as though he's going to have it?
Right now, I feel that he should just focus on getting some sort of proof of employment, not employment, proof of income to me. That would be my number one goal for the next probably month for him to do that. Whether that be him writing down everything that he, like the price of everything that he sells, or just kind of confirming that he's sold something and him telling me, hey, this is the amount that I've sold this week. This is what I've done so far.
So when do you think you'll get back to him regarding him writing things down as he sells them?
I would anticipate within the next couple of days.
Would this be something he'd submit every other week? Is that something you might be looking at, or once a month, or what are we looking at?
About once a month.
Once a month, okay. Thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Howe?
Yes. In the court report, I think you touched on it briefly about the miscommunication. Are you referring to the called or texted in a threatening manner following an issue with Mr. Everts picking up Chase for a scheduled parenting time?
Yes.
Okay, can you just elaborate what that situation was?
Yes, so we had discussed him being allowed to go and pick up Chase from daycare, but due to licensing and restrictions of the daycare, they were not able to let Mr. Everts pick up the child. So as we were all communicating, the caregiver had reached out after the weekend and let me know that Mr. Everts had sent her some voice notes over Facebook Messenger that she was concerned about. But having talked with Mr. Everts and talked with the caregiver, and then those two had talked about what was sent, they both had stated that it was miscommunication, that Mr. Everts had meant it as a joking manner, is what I was told, and that he did not mean it to come across as threatening or harmful in any way.
And after that period of doing the visits at Fostering Solutions, they've returned back to the visits in the home with the caregiver.
Yes.
Nothing further.
Did you review the messages?
I did.
Did you find anything concerning independently?
There was some concerns with what he was saying, and I did address it with him privately outside of the group chat. I didn't touch base with him in the group chat with her. But they both separately told me that they had communicated that Mr. Everts had apologized, and that she told me that he had meant it in a.
All right, guys. The conversation shifts toward those disturbing messages sent to the caregiver. Everyone tries softening the situation by calling it miscommunication,
Non-threatening manner. I have not received any concerns from her or seen any other messages since then.
What were the messages?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. How many times in the last report period of these would you say that you've had contact with the parties in this case?
Probably. I do talk with a caregiver often. So I'd say it's usually about once a week with a caregiver, and then probably once every 2 weeks or so with Mr. Everts.
Okay. So the last court report had requested to ensure that Mr. Everts' counselor had a copy of his psychological evaluation provided to his counselor, and specifically for an update. Can you help me understand what got in the way of accomplishing that?
So I did send her the psychological evaluation. The report that I received from her was from October, when I had been asking for an update then.
Well, I'm going to just interrupt you for a second, because what I have is dated June 20th, 2025. Is there
in the email that she sent me, she stated that she forgot to update that date.
So when is this letter from?
It's from October 21st.
it doesn't address whether or not she's received the psychological evaluation or whether or not she's addressed the invalid child abuse potential inventory results as I requested in the last court order. Did you address that with her?
I did.
And what did she say?
She told me that Mr. Everts continues to address those. She did not give any specific ways that he is currently addressing them, but she did tell me that he is addressing those concerns. That he is working on addressing the previous concerns of the anger management, and that has been addressing the goals in the psychological evaluation.
None of that is reflected in this letter. It just indicates he's addressing issues from his past and is working on his current challenges with the goal of obtaining custody. I also noticed that he didn't complete the orchard services in July and was terminated from that service. And then CPC has dropped him off of their attendance list since he hasn't been back since late October. He's only been once in October and a couple times in September. So that, coupled with the concerning messages and the lack of information on his psychological progress around child abuse potential, and I don't have any evidence here that he's making progress on the issues that led to the prior terminations. Does that concern you at all?
Coupled all together, I can see how that is concerning, yes.
Okay. So how can we support better progress in the areas of anger management, parent education, and counseling moving forward?
I will work on getting a more cohesive report from his counselor. And then I can reach out to Permanency Center to see what we can do to get him re-engaged in those services. And then see if she is truly addressing the anger management.
Typically, I ask for the goals of therapy, the attendance, and the progress on goals. And in this case, I wanted specifics on the concerns addressed in the psychological, so I'll be clear on that in the order so that you can have that. I had also asked for some clarification as to how his diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis may affect his ability to parent his child. Was there any leeway on that made?
Mr. Everts did sign a release of information for me, and I had sent that twice to his doctor's office. I have not received a call back from his doctor.
Did you ask the doctor's office specifically to help you answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. Would you mind submitting some of those documents and those pieces with your next court report, just so I can have a bigger picture of what's happening? Great. And then the other issue is his living together partner. It appears that she is regularly employed. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So is he really on the lease, or is it her lease? Considering his employment is not really something that you've even been able to verify.
To my understanding, they were both signing the lease.
Okay. And what are her mental health diagnoses?
She has I'm trying to recall. It's, I believe, bipolar disorder, and then there was a history of depression.
Okay. And what is the nature of her CPS history?
So her CPS history, there was concerns of
Listen, the judge then turns attention toward the girlfriend living with the father. Her mental health history, CPS involvement, housing instability.
Housing instability, there was physical abuse allegations, and then there was concerns for her mental health.
Okay. And so if she's going to be a primary part of the life of this child, essentially how the court would look at it is she needs to voluntarily participate in those services. And then we would need to see progress in those areas for her as well before I would be willing to allow this child unsupervised visits in the home with her, let alone placement with her. So I just want to help you understand my expectations moving forward. Does that help?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for me on any of the things that we've gone over today?
No.
Redirect, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, I was taking notes there to ensure that we are able to get that information from Ms. Solis, so thank you for that. But I have no further questions for Ms. Latour.
Okay, any recross?
Just briefly on what the judge asked you about, my client's partner's income. Are you receiving what her income is?
I have not asked her for her income, due to her not being ordered into any services or anything like that, so it would have to be voluntary.
But you haven't asked her, right?
Correct.
So kind of makes sense when you agree if they're going to be signing a lease together, living together, if that's going to be the family unit that this child would be going back into, that her income would be used to support that unit. You would agree?
Yes.
So you'd like her to voluntarily agree to that, is what I'm hearing? Oh, yeah, see, she's nodding her head, the check property. Nothing further.
Mr. No.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat. Any other witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, I would just leave it to Mr. McFarland if his client would like to testify.
Yes, he will be, I will be calling him.
All right. Okay, Mr. Daniel Everts, come on up to our witness stand.
See, your witness or mine, Ms. Thomas?
Yours.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to step here.
Mr. Roberts, what would you say your strengths are during this last reporting period?
Well, I was going to the CPC Care Pregnancy Center, and since I completed everything else besides the one-on-one, and they have no pretty much no counseling. They're not professionals. I've asked if I could do it with my counselor. They said yes, that was fine.
Who said yes? The worker here?
Yes,
Okay.
and as well as domestic violence from the past. If I could work on that with her, and they said that was fine as well.
That's why you're not engaged in CPC anymore?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
So I pretty much been discussing it with her and going through everything with her. She said that she feels that I only need to come in twice a week. And
Who says she?
my counselor.
Okay. And you understand, sounds like we need some more information from your counselor. You heard that.
Yes.
So that's not your fault, sounds like, but
No, I can get that from her. I mean, it'd be easier for me to get it.
Okay.
She said she sent a few things over, and I mean, I know stuff got mixed up a little bit there for a while, and she managed to send it over.
tell us about the housing situation as you've explained it to me.
Well, we've been looking.
You're gonna sign a lease, right?
Yes, today actually.
And where will you be moving to?
It's on South Street.
Adrian?
Yep, I believe it's 320 South Street.
And can you describe the house for us?
Well, it's an old church. They turned it into a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. 1,300 a month plus utilities. As far as me being on a lease, yes, I will be on the lease because I have been paying before she started her job where we're at now, $1,000 a month. Before rent's due, I'm paying on it. Which is why you don't really ask me to see any, bank statements or any footage like that. He sees on a day-to-day people coming over and buying stuff from me and know that I'm making money, paying my bills. So he said he'd have us in there.
How much does your girlfriend make a week or a month, or can you give us an idea?
I'd say about 2,000 every 2 weeks.
Okay, so you guys have enough for, sounds as though the rent and everything else, even just on her income perhaps,
Yeah.
right? Stable relationship?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How do you think your case is going?
I mean, I'm doing everything the court's asking of me. everything else it's asked of me, I've been doing.
Now things get more intense because the father begins explaining the new apartment situation and his income from selling collectibles and antiques.
Parenting class, I did get a lot out of it, but being just a one-on-one and talking to them about certain things, I feel that I've gotten all I can get out of them. Which is why I asked if I could talk to my counselor or just do it that way, as well as saving some time as well. Keep me from going to that class and just staying in one class and talking to one person. And she said that she's able to talk to me about domestic violence and certain other things, some not relating to this, but just other things. If I felt like calling her at any time, well, I'm able to.
Do you like to take your child? Remember, we're not using names. Would you like to take your child to the library or a public place for visits?
Of course.
I figure if I don't ask you, somebody or maybe even the court might ask you, what was it exactly that you said to the caretaker that was misunderstood?
Well, what had happened is I was told or asked if I could go pick my son up from daycare, which I agreed to. But our car broke down and I had to get a ride out there. Well, Jen, which is a caregiver, asked how everything went and what was going on there and what was said and everything else. And I said, what was supposed to go on there? I said, well, I went off on him or whatever like that. I said, just jokingly to her.
I didn't hear. What did you say jokingly?
That me and him got into it or whatever, and because she told me that the daycare pretty much the guy's kind of a jerk or whatever. And I mean he wasn't that way to me or whatnot, but I said that to her and she then went and told it to care Permanency. And
Did you get into it with the caretaker?
No, everything was fine. I told them that they can contact themselves, nothing was said.
So what was the joking part, just so we all understand?
Well, Jen said it like I was supposed to say something and out of the way to the guy or something like that. Nothing like that was ever said. And when she turned around and turned something that was a joke between me and her into something that was real, then yeah, I called her out of her name and apologized to her.
What did you apologize for? I guess I'm gonna
Calling her out of her name.
Calling her out of her what?
Name.
What do you mean by that?
Called her B word.
Okay. Okay, so you use some profanity and you apologize about that. Okay. Any help that you see that you could specifically use to improve on this case service plan?
Well, I mean, housing help, they say they're gonna help you or everything like that. And you go down there, by the time you find a place, you gotta re-sign up. And so I just did away with them.
So you got this on your own?
Yes.
So is there anything else that you need? Do you need help with transportation? Do you need help with any others?
Right now, we're working on getting another vehicle. We had a hybrid and the battery in there went out and it cost more than pretty much the whole car cost me to get a new battery for it. So now we're looking for.
Do you need vouchers to go to visits or anything like that? Or to go, any type of limit transportation to get to your counseling or anything?
No, I can get to where I'm going. I have people who give me rides for right now. I have no problem getting to and from my visits at any time. So.
Anything else that you think is important to bring to our attention today, or that you want to express to the court?
Just how I have it down that on paper it's written down as child abuse and or neglect, which came from my past CPS, not the one now. Child abuse and or neglect, which came from failure to pay child support, which I've been doing through probation officer Holly upstairs for 3 years now, paying on my child support. What it was is I didn't know you had to change your address with Wayne County Court because they don't take the time out to look and see where your address is now. They're sending me out what is a show cause hearing, I guess, And I never showed up because I never got the forms. So now that I've been put on probation for 3.5 years, I've been paying that.
Okay. And you had a prior termination of parental rights, correct?
Yes,
And I explained to you that what happens when you have a prior termination, now they have to bring what they did on this case, correct?
yes,
You understand that?
yes,
Okay. And lastly, you can write down as far as your sales, you're agreeable to doing that?
yeah, I can write it down. I could have, whoever I'm selling stuff to, have them write their name down as well. Phone number.
You mean just a receipt, right?
Yes.
And you can just take a snapshot once a month of all those and
Oh, yeah.
send those to your worker?
I can take a snapshot or bring the whole book in or whatever.
Have we covered everything that you want us to cover?
Pretty much, yes.
Other attorneys may have questions. Thanks.
Ms. Thomas, any questions?
I have no questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Howard?
Yes, can you just elaborate on, I know you said like buying and selling things, can you just elaborate a little bit to explain to us how you're making your income?
Pretty much vintage and collectible, antiques. So mostly what I do.
And you just go to estate sales or something and buy them and resell them?
Auctions, estate sales, online. If I find something in a car or something like that, I know I can make $1,000. I'll buy it, sell it.
How are you selling them?
Online right now in the summertime, I have a booth over at Tecumseh Trade Center.
So you could also, if you're selling them online, I'm assuming eBay?
Yes,
Yes.
eBay, not as much, not too much eBay anymore. Usually Facebook yard sale.
Okay. So I'm assuming you could provide your eBay account information on your sales, and then does Facebook track sales?
Sometimes they do. They'll ask you if you sold something on Facebook, and if so, the name of the person that you sold it to will pop up, and they'll give you like 5 stars or whatever. Anymore, I've already have like several people that I sell to on a regular basis that have booths and sell themselves, sell stuff themselves. So I make about $4,000 to $5,000 a month doing. There's no guarantee that me and her are going to be together forever. I mean, I'd like to, but I also look at that as I have to have something for sure to take care of my son by myself. I can't depend on someone that might or might not be here next week or next year. So,
In the hypothetical where you do get your son back, what is your plan for childcare?
childcare, I'd like to put him in school. I feel we need to get more out of school, we need to get out of daycare. There are some other programs that he's gonna have to go on. I think some type of speech therapy, check his hearing. There's a few things I'd like to do.
And then I hope the past termination and past abuse and neglect case, did you say it was because of failing to provide child support?
Yes,
And that's from what date?
that'd be Wayne County. I'd like to say I've been on probation court for 3 years now. Through probation Holly, which is in this court. It's from Wayne County, but I had it transferred over here since this is where I live, and it's a lot easier for me to go to this court than it is to get to Wayne County everywhere.
And so your parental rights were terminated because you weren't paying child support?
Correct.
And they were terminated in the abuse and neglect case?
Yes. There was one before that, I want to say maybe 25 years ago, 20 years ago, where I had multiple felony warrants and the children weren't safe in the home because the police could come in at any time and kick the doors or whatever and arrest me. There was that, and all I had to do was go to parent class for that, which I didn't do when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I think I've shown, hey, I've been through 7 different classes, and I'm going to see a counselor now and everything else, so.
If there were to be unsupervised visitation with just you and your son, would you be able to transport your son to and from his placement
Yes.
to the visitor spot?
Yes.
And without a car, what would your transportation plan be?
Well, the next week or so, I'll have another vehicle, but if I had to, I could get a ride from someone that's able to give me a ride.
Would you guys have a car seat?
Yes, I already have a car seat, as I had my son for 3 months before he got removed.
Nothing further.
May redirect.
Just 2 questions. Where are you on your disability? I forgot to ask you that exactly.
I'm still waiting for, I go through Jermaine Benjamin, and it's an online attorney. And I filled something out. He sent me something back. Now I gotta refill it out. But I do have their phone number if they need to be contacted.
Would you be able to share that correspondence with the worker? Do you have any problem with that? So she knows you're trying?
No, I'll be able to share that with you.
Lastly, I haven't seen anything in the report that says with your rheumatoid arthritis that you're having any problems with visits. Are you having any? Does your condition affect you at all during the visits?
No, what it is, I used to do maintenance and rough framing, and I just can't grab a hammer and continuously beat on stuff anymore, or work on a farm like I used to. Years of work, that's what it's done to my hands and my knees, and other parts of my body. But as far as taking care of my son, I mean, I play with him, pick him up, hold his hand. I can do everything that I've done for 20, 30 years with the other kids.
Great, and thank you for your honesty. Thank you.
Listen, closing arguments reveal the split perfectly. The defense says the father has changed and deserves reunification progress.
Mary Cross, Ms. Thomas,
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Hall.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. We are adjourned to your seat.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses, Mr. McFarland?
No, thank you.
Mr. Howard?
No, Your Honor.
Comments in closing, beginning with Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. The agency has noted what this court is requesting again from the therapist in this matter. So hopefully at the next hearing, we will have an update. I think given Mr. Everett's engagement and willingness to work his case service plan, the goal of reunification is still appropriate. I don't know if it's worth another conversation about a guardianship. We did have that family team meeting. I know there's some concerns about funding, but with a guardianship that would be subsidized, there's also the need to have licensing come through, and there might be some concerns there. So I think right now, Dad getting established in some stable housing, making sure that these areas of concern that brought the child into care are thoroughly being addressed and are being stabilized. I think within the next couple of reviews, hopefully we could recommend that reunification. But if not, it sounds like the child is doing really well in his placement with the stability that he has and really appreciates his relationship with his father. And so maybe there is a hybrid situation that we could come to, conclusion we could come to in this case. But with that, Your Honor, I think at this time, it is still appropriate to ask the court to have the goal as reunification and set this for another review hearing in 90 days with the expectation that parenting time would be expanded on perhaps into the community and or into the new home that Mr. Everts and his partner are in, provided there are those safety elements in place. With that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland.
Sounds as though the lack of defining what the agency needs by my client's counselor, that he's cooperative. We would just ask that if there's a problem with this counselor, that they notify my client as soon as possible if he needs to re-engage with somebody else, if they're not getting what they need to from that. It appears as though my client's reported income and his girlfriend's reported income is enough for them, for a child to join them. It's been hard for him to get housing. We've heard that every step here, but he's secured that on his own. He'll be signing a lease and he'll provide that. He do a knuckleheaded thing and perhaps use some inappropriate language. Yeah, he understands it. Can't say that normal people don't do things, stupid things, but he understands that he's being monitored and he's under a higher observation than a lot of us are. He was very honest though with his past removal and termination history, Your Honor, and I think what he's trying to relay to this court is he's matured, he has grown, he's truly striving, and we agree with the goal of reunification. Thank you.
Mr. Howard.
Yes, Your Honor, I think, I'm happy with the progress that Mr. Everett has made in the forms of, hopefully moving into this house. And, he is engaging and willing to do what is asked of him. Sounds like they're getting transportation shortly, but I still think that there's a lot that's going to go into caring for this child, both financially and, time and effort wise, that we just aren't, sure that it's going to be a possibility. I know he's willing and open to providing that financial stability documentation, so I'll be definitely looking for that this next court report. And then, I think expanding visitation with just Mr. Everett into, places like the library or something in an unsupervised setting, and just, seeing how that goes may be appropriate within these next couple of weeks, it sounds like. So as far as his long-term partner goes, I think we just need as much information we can on that to make a judgment on what that may look like for the child moving forward. And it sounds like she's engaged with CMH and just getting some more information on her background and what's going on. I do have some concerns on Mr. Everett's recollection of his past CPS history and the termination for not paying child support. I haven't heard that before, but I think if I'm able to clear that up with him, to kind of get that out of my concerns, possibly. And then finally, the miscommunication or threatening remarks, whichever way you want to look at it. I was made aware of the situation too during, I think it was back in October. And what I'll say is, since then, Mr. Edwards has been very apologetic towards the placement and trying to do everything and show everything that he made a mistake and he took accountability for it, which is really the steps that I was more so looking for, rather than I don't really see it as a joke, but the accountability and the apologies to the placement and making sure it doesn't happen again is more important to me. Thank you.
Thank you. The court finds all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's third review hearing. This child was removed from the care of his father for homelessness, lack of employment, failure to progress in areas of parenting skills, criminality. Back in January 22nd of 2025. He had removed the child from the primary caregiver after the passing of the child's mother, and was refusing to let the child remain with the person who has now been the caregiver for the child since last January. Mr. Howe's description of the child's progress since the child's been in care and has been able to have that stabilization, really a testament to the progress that's been made by the child and the caregiver. As I listened to today's review, I heard a lot of very carefully worded attempts to give Mr. Everts a lot of credit here. But the reality of the situation is Mr. Everett still has no reliable income, no reliable transportation, no reliable housing. He's dropped out of parenting education, and we have no real update from his individual counselor, any satisfaction that he's made progress in the areas of anger management or parenting education, or progress to avoid the risks that still very clearly plague this case. I've put together a rather extensive homework list, unfortunately, for our caseworker in this matter, but that's very reflective of the complacency, frankly, that I see Mr. Everett's in Mr. Everett's position. He, from his testimony today, has shared with us some new developments, as far as I'm concerned, that including that he's on felony probation for failure to pay child support, that he thinks that his prior terminations are as a result of failure to pay child support, and that he has simply grown up in his ability to provide better parenting skills than the lack of parenting skills that resulted in the prior termination of his parental rights. I also have significant concerns about his living together partner, who may very well be in great progress, may be in great shape in managing very significant mental health issues. She's clearly supporting Mr. Everett's. And I am sure that extends to this housing opportunity that he may be looking to take advantage of in the next couple of weeks. But he's right. That's not something that he's putting together on his own, clearly. And we need to know if allowing her to be part of this picture moving forward is really what's in the best interest of the child. I have nothing against either of these parents. My primary concern is what is best for this child moving forward. And my interest here is continuing the progress that this 2-year-old has made. Part of the other concerns that I heard during this testimony is that this kid is 2. He's not old enough for school. He's in early on services. So Mr. Everett's, frankly, what I see here is Mr. Everett's opinion is he's fully capable of taking care of the child in the same way that the child is being taken care of at the time of removal. So I am far from satisfied with the progress that's being made in this case. He's been under the court's dispositional orders since April 7th, 2025. We still have a lot of unanswered questions here that have been out there since the removal, frankly. And I want the department to take very seriously the potential licensing and long-term care of this child in the placement where he's currently residing. Now, I very likely may or may not be the judge that you have in March, but it will be a hearing that will be guided by the advices in the attachment that I'm going to be issuing with this order. And very likely will not be the last review period. So I would encourage everybody to buckle down, especially Mr. Everett's, and show me and Judge Joe and in the next 3 to 6 months what Mr. Everett's is really serious. I would offer to you, for purposes of our next review and permanency planning hearing, March 10th at 8:30 in the morning. Any questions? Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll have the order ready for you in a few minutes.
I have advised my client that when he does change his address, he needs to give that to the worker right away. So
Great. Glad to hear. All right, you're welcome to wait in the hallway.
Now the judge absolutely takes control of the hearing. He openly says the father still lacks reliable income, transportation, and verified progress in counseling. All right, guys, despite some improvements, the court makes it crystal clear this case is far from finished and the father still has massive ground to cover before reunification becomes realistic.